Hi everyone, it's Atuksha from Simple Crowdfunding, and in today's interview I'm here with Miro and Marc from Staykeepers. I'll ask the two of them to introduce themselves in a second. You may recall that I did an interview recently with Ivo, who's the CEO of Staykeepers. It's picked up a lot of traction, and some people were asking to understand more about the technology and also where the business is going, which is why we've then asked Miro and Marc to join us. Thank you so much for joining me both.
Pleasure. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Miro, may I ask, can you just briefly introduce yourself first, and then Marc, I'll come back to you afterwards.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Tuksha, as well for inviting us. So about myself, we have started the company 2015, but before that, my background it's in finance and risk. So I started from financial engineering. I have studied in London as well, my bachelor and master's degree. And then actually the real learning has started when we started the company. So it hasn't stopped for the past 6 years. So it's been a huge learning curve for myself. So just from financial engineering, you are encountering problems and challenges day to day, and you need to solve them. And yes, it has been combination of actually combination of my background, but also at the same time keeping the same fast-paced learning curve to be able to work not just individually, but also with the teams as well.
Thank you, Miro. I'm going to come back to you. I have some questions on that in a second. I'll come back to you in a minute, though.
Okay.
Marc, can I ask you to introduce yourself, please?
Happy to do so. Marc Young here. I'm a partner at Prefcap. We run a VC fund that is targeted at supporting growth software companies across Europe. We specialize in funding the growth between seed and Series A, and are proud to be investors within Staykeepers.
Thank you. And again, I'll come back to you in a short while, but Miro, first of all, I'm really keen to focus on, so what is your role within Staykeepers at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I'm wearing a couple of hats as every startup and scale-up company. Currently, my responsibilities are in finance and technology, especially data. I specialize mainly in big data for the past few years.
Yeah, so I do recall, so my background's in data analytics, and I do recall some of the spreadsheets and information that Miro sent us in the past about Staykeepers, and it's very, very detailed. So Miro, with regards to the technology side of things for Staykeepers, it's developed quite considerably over the years already, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I have two questions. One is, what caused you to start looking at technology from a business standpoint? Because I know originally, you know, in terms of the journey, it started from rent to rent through to management, and now you are a technology company. So what was the switch? Why did you switch and spend more focus and time on technology?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. And yes, it's true. The first 2-3 years, we started with bricks and mortar. We've always been tech-enabled business from the very early beginning, which has provided us flexibility in terms of using the best SaaS tools out there and to connect them in the best possible way. This has played a major role. And also not going with a static, even though for our business model, you don't have an out-of-the-box ERP system that it can support our needs. Choosing the flexibility and agility, it has cost us slightly more investment. However, it has given us flexibility to answer our needs and to stand out from the crowd. So I think this is very important, and the transformation from bricks and mortar in the first few years, moving to tech-enabled business, it's important that we have kept our agility, because to connect between different softwares and take the most out of it based on our current needs without over investing. Because if you go to traditional, let's say, prop tech company and you have one application, you can develop it, you have proof of concept, MVP, and it's the journey, it's pretty much well defined. Okay, are you successful or not successful? When you have 5 businesses in one, in our case, it's very complicated, but this has given us amazing opportunity to learn the different problems in different areas, and actually to step back and to look at the big picture and to take strategic decisions. Okay, how do we want to move here, and where we can unlock the most value? And actually we have invested quite a lot in our data engineering team, and in terms of the business intelligence, which has given us strategic, which has provided us opportunity to make strategic decisions in terms of when you use business intelligence, even not in an advanced way. And then we move to more like data applications, not just data, but actually we have some portals, and also like we are finding niches where we were looking to growth hack and to unlock the biggest potential. So this flexibility, you don't come in a standard way. Okay, this is SaaS business and this is my model, and you just laser focus on that. But actually has opened for us a big horizon, and lots of opportunity that we've taken advantage over the pandemic that I'm sure that Ivo has mentioned.
Let me ask you, that was so much information, and I'm going to try and remember my questions, okay? So the first is, you made reference to 5 businesses in one. So can you briefly just talk about what each of those do? And then I'll come back to I have a question about the agility, and I'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah, sure. Actually, and just to complement that, one of our unique selling proposition and USP is actually revenue management. And I remembered it was 6 to 12 months ago in TechCrunch. I have read especially one of the revenue management startups. They've started with the traditional management company, but they just focused on the revenue management software and providing SaaS towards the customers. And this is just a good example. And you have other examples, companies starting as a property, when I say shortlet management company, and they're focusing just on housekeeping. And this is actually our the part of our business, because we have on the ground either service providers or our in-house people. So you need a structure which is very customized for our institutional landlords B2B model, but you have on the ground service call centers actually in our case. You have the revenue management, you have the technology element as well, because we're investing heavily in technology, and actually as well in terms of sales, where we have made a machine where we are able to produce a lot of volume to sustain our growth. And yeah, if you break down those, normally you can go and you can set up just a business on its own. And also you have business intelligence in terms of data. You have many revenue management tools that actually you have for tactical management and strategic management. Strategic management is the business intelligence. Tactical, it's more about dynamic pricing. And actually you have revenue management legacy systems that they're separated into 2 areas. Just not to go too much into detail, because this is very interesting question, but yeah, I think we're gonna run out of time.
That's absolutely fine. And then going back to the question about agility, so having your own technology allows you, one, to look at information and data in a very specific way. So, you know, all the analysis that I've ever done, I know that the data is a crown jewels of a business, because there'll be nuggets of information there that are not visible unless you actually mine that information. And by collecting so much information and having it in your own systems across lots of different aspects does give you the advantage. I understand that. With regards to the technology, being able to control and manage your own technology means then your business is also very agile and can adapt to change quickly. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, especially because of, as I mentioned earlier, that we are not dedicated to a single ERP system. This gives us agility where we are customizing our needs depending on the volume, because you have different maturity of the company, where in the startup or either in the growth or either at maturity stage, you are looking at 3 different core foundations. It's not just the technology, but also it's the management, which is a huge part in itself, a lot, which I think is a separate conversation in itself. But how do you balance that and making sure that the you have control of the company? It's quite challenging, but that's why we have quite high threshold for our business.
Thank you. And Mark, what attracted your company to Staykeepers? What was it about them that you thought, actually, I need to find out more?
I think firstly, we back founders that impress us. So Ivo and Miro were very impressive in terms of their story of how they built the business with little to no funding themselves. We looked for a opportunity that we think is scalable and a real business requirement. The property management online market is very complex. Some of the platforms were built with a consumer focus rather than a property owner or manager focus, and maybe will have built and evolved from a peer-to-peer type of arrangement, certainly on the Airbnb side, or on a hotel-based arrangement basis. If you look at platforms such as Booking.com, it's very hard for people that own multiple properties to manage those properties across multiple platforms. These guys have built really elastic and impressive technology solutions to help these business owners to manage their portfolio. And they were also able to monitor the performance in a way that those managers would not previously have been able to do so. So it's not just a case of facilitating something that previously would have taken lots of staff. It also gives you insight, and the active management across these channels will increase the yield and improve revenue. So you wrap all of that together, and we think it's a very powerful investment proposition. And look, it's been proven, because for a business as embryonic as this to have survived an environment when there was no travel proves the strength and the flexibility of what they're able to do. And now we see the business is positioned in a fabulous place for growth.
Thank you. And to that point, so COVID was pretty hard hitting for all businesses like this, wasn't it? And based upon the conversation that I had with Ivo, he said it gave time to actually rethink the proposition, and it opened up a new market, didn't it, in terms of sort of longer term lets. So whilst renting for longer term to NHS, to those in need, in order to fill all these rooms in the meantime, it also identified longer term lets as another opportunity for the business, which has actually made it stronger, hasn't it?
Yes, that's correct. And we saw a lot of opportunity, through the COVID period, which has challenges, and we needed to get outside of the box. And as a consequence, we didn't give up, or we didn't decide just to stop or to wait, but all we did is action and to see what we can tangibly achieve at this particular case. In our case, it was research and development and creating new opportunities out of the this I would say not recession, but very negative time, especially for travel companies.
I understand that, and it does make a lot of sense. And in terms of where the business is heading, can you share some insight in terms of the ambitions of the business?
Yeah, sure. Actually, this is very exciting part, and I'm sure that you have covered a little bit as well with Ivo from the previous interview. We just need to, I just want to stress that and just to reiterate that we are creating a new market, otherwise it will not be existing. And without our help, most of the institutional landlords, they will not be able to provide this asset class to be part of the shared economy. And this is a huge opportunity, and the market is huge. And one key element for us, especially growing forward, it's about long-standing relationships and to build those relationships with the institutional landlords, because we just need to remember in B2C you still need to do the same, but in B2B it's even more important, and it takes longer time, and actually after a few years this is the strongest year for us, but definitely it's paying off, and there is a lot of opportunities on the map. We see ourselves just getting the most of this market, and actually to give opportunity to more travelers to benefit from this new shared economy asset class from those buildings. So yeah, we're talking about billion plus market, so yeah, it's very, very exciting.
Thank you. And in terms of so for those of you who've not listened to the previous interview, I know Ivo and Miro because they were the first to do an equity raise through our crowdfunding platform. And it was a rent-to-rent opportunity, about 30,000 or thereabouts, cash flow opportunity. And actually, you've now come full circle, haven't you? And you're back to the crowd. But this time for a very, very different offer. So in terms of the Staykeepers business, it's a pre-money valuation of close to 30 million. So within that time period, you've done incredible things to grow and raise the company to the level it's at. So why go back to the crowd? Why are you keen for others to be involved in your journey?
Thank you for asking that, Atuksha. It's great to be back on the crowdfunding stage after quite several years now. Just to reiterate, I think it's a good opportunity to share our journey, to share the opportunity with us, with our landlords, with our investors and backers that have already supported us. And crowdfunding, it's quite open, and actually it's giving as well more transparency, and we're able to involve more stakeholders on the journey. So I think this is one of the key reasons, and definitely to get the reassurance as well from the crowd. I think it's a quite big achievement, which I see to be just the beginning.
Yeah, and Marc, from your standpoint, going to the crowd is very different to what you would typically do as an investor. How have you found going to the crowd and this experience?
A number of our businesses that we back will have either raised crowdfunding before, during, or after our investment. And we often invest to augment those rounds and alongside. There are obviously some very attractive tax breaks around EIS investing that make direct investment in growth companies potentially attractive for certain investors. And likewise, we like the idea of having investors that understand the business proposition and may be able to add something to the company, be that properties that might, in this instance, might be available to let via the platform, or other sort of tangential help. So it's a key component of growth software funding in the UK that private investors are involved, and the venture space within the UK is evolving quickly and maturing in the way that we would like to see, compared to what I guess you see, which is a very vibrant angel community in the States.
Absolutely. The other thing I absolutely love about the crowd space is also it then gets your message out there wider, doesn't it? If you have more people who are invested in a company, they're more likely to talk about it as well. I
think that's right. I think especially businesses like Staykeepers, where more people being aware and more landlords being aware. You've obviously got a very connected property audience. If any of your channel are investing and then they tell people that they know about the business or the opportunity, the amplification is clearly attractive. Yes, I agree.
Thank you so much. It's been enlightening. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with listeners?
I think definitely we can follow up with a different session. I can think of many other topics, but it will be good to hear what is interesting as well for the crowd. And I'm definitely happy to proceed with the follow-up session. If there is even could be a topic around management, it's just a different topic in itself. But thank you for having us and the opportunity as well.
And I think from my side, just to summarize, I think that the business is providing an opportunity to invest in a software platform that will benefit from the changing dynamics in the way in which people rent property for either vacation, business, or longer term lettings. And anyone that's been through any of those transactions in a personal capacity or a business capacity knows that they are riddled with inefficiencies, layers of bureaucracy. So it is something that is ripe for automation and improvement. And I'm excited to help support these guys achieve that.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
The link for the raise will be in the description below. And if you do have further questions, if you want to learn about certain aspects of the growth of this business, then get in touch and we will see if we can help facilitate getting that information to you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time, both of you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Atuksha. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.